Happy birthday, USA. We're going to look at the United States solar return, and we're in the infancy of the Pluto return. And let's take a look at what's going on. I'm Ev Zerverdakis, founder of Holistic Healing Astrology, and we are going to take a look at the United States solar chart, natal chart, and the biwheel so we know what's going on. So the first thing that we're going to do is we'll just look at the United States natal chart, and this tells us that 250 years ago, we had the sun in Cancer 13 degrees, and that was July 4th, 1776. And this tells us what to expect because 80% of forecasts have to do with our natal chart, not the forecast chart. So I wanted to clear that up. So let's look at the review here. Back 250 years ago, approximately, we had Pluto in Capricorn, and a lot of the planets were pretty much opposite of Pluto, but next to Pluto was the south node and the north node, which represent the purpose of the United States. But what's interesting is the energies of communication were very big with partnerships and relationships with other people, that the United States was the nurturer and the protector of the world in a big way, and financially helping people with food, money, in abundance, and optimism, justice, liberty. This country was founded on liberty. And of course, communication in a very loving, nurturing way. The United States, its greatest joy, success, and prosperity has to do with communicating and expressing one's free thinking. And look at the accomplishments from 1776 to present day, 2025. So it's really technically 249 years, but it is a Pluto return, which is about 250 years. So don't judge by it 1 year when we're looking at such a long time frame. So we're known for the Pony Express, for these innovative ways of communicating from our inception. But if you look at the top of the chart, this is how we appear to the rest of the world: very organized, very service-oriented, very meticulous, always looking at the details. And of course, we look at this spirituality, letting the Creator help us and guide us. You know, this country was founded on principles of the Creator, God. And if you look at the Declaration of Independence, the Creator and God is cited a few times. So, with that being said, we're going to look, of course, at the solar return chart, which tells us what to expect in the next year, 365 days. What's interesting, too, at the base of the United States chart is the sign of Pisces, which has to do with somewhat of isolation, but a spiritual sense as well, letting things go, just going with the flow. But opposite of that is the structure and how we're going to do it through analytics and and putting things in order. But the ruling planet of Pisces is Neptune, and it's opposite. So when it comes to our homeland and how we appear to the world, it's very spiritually based. And we are emotionally and feeling wise very much interested in the world globally and scientifically and rationally. So that's the way that we are seen as communicators, the country of communication. So there's always that element of Gemini, Uranus, the higher energy of of Mercury, which has to do with communication and messenger. So there's a lot of emphasis on communicating, exchange, nurturing, food, and we have been doing a very good job for most of the world. And then we also have Saturn, the planet of discipline. It's also the guardian angel planet, because if you do your homework, especially when it has to do with relationships, we're solid when it comes to relationships. That's the way we present ourselves in society, and it's for healing purposes. We help everyone, and we used to, and I think we still continue and will continue. So let's look now at the solar return chart for the United States. And what we look at are the angles, because that gives us the flavor of this upcoming year. And it also gives you an idea of where the emphasis is. So the first thing we're going to look at is the Sun is 13 degrees Cancer, which is the exact position that the Sun was in during its birth, the United States birth, 13 degrees, 18 minutes. And it still falls on the 4th of July. What's different about this year's solar return, unlike the natal chart, is the emphasis is on transformation, Pluto in Aquarius, which has to do with science, technology, AI, the world as a community, that we're all one right now. And it's fascinating how it does fit in. And just looking at the Pluto, which is a Pluto return as well, because it's within 5 degrees, 6 degrees of the natal Pluto, which was in 27 degrees Capricorn, I believe. So we are in the infancy of a 250-year cycle. So we're never going to be the same as before. And none of us out there, unless we live to be about 250 years, will ever experience a Pluto return. But we may experience a Pluto square, a Pluto sextile, a Pluto semi-square, if you understand what I'm talking about. And these are just relationships with the other planets. However, if you look at these blue lines, there's a lot of activity between who we are, how we appear to the world, and our transformation scientifically, collectively. But the emphasis is here for two main reasons, because we have 2 anaretic degrees, a 0, which is an Aries point, and this is what's going to put us under the focus and spotlight of the world, especially on our homeland, because this is home and this represents our society, how we appear to the rest of the world. But have a 0 degrees in Gemini, which has to do with exchange, communication, and how we think. And it's a new beginning for money, food, things that are attracted to us, especially in the area of who we are and our transformation in the scientific realm, in the community as a whole. Also, the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus in 29 degrees, which is a critical degree because it has a sense of urgency, a compulsion. I got to finish. We got to get it done. We just want to get rid of this, letting go of this Taurian energy of possessions and money and slow moving, very simplistic way. It has to do with earth too, farming. So there's this urgency and this awakening that is occurring, and how we're transforming our food and the food industry. And I'm sure that there's a connection here with Neptune, which has to do with poison or a dissolving of our food. So through technology, we will be changing the way we produce our food for ourselves because it's our responsibility, which is here. And it has to do with our self-esteem and our resources. Our purpose this year is very spiritual. It's about letting go. It's about trusting in the Creator. And we will get things done. There are plenty of opportunities for us to create our boundaries and to enhance our spirituality, but also in the area of drugs, because this has to end the invisible world. So we have electronics, AI, food, money, technology, science, transforming the way we appear to the world. It's going to take some work. We're right now, when we look at the emotions of this country, we are very divided and we are very maybe abusive to each other until we balance out these energies. And there's this obsession with our home, not liking our homeland, going to other places. But it will change because our purpose is changing. And if you look here at our daily life, our health, the health of the country, this is where we're going to shine with our everyday life. And it's going to be very optimistic. We're going to be very lucky, very expansive in the area of nurturing the home and protecting. And that goes to the flow of our purpose. It's a very spiritual purpose and a righteous purpose, law enforcement for our families and our home life, our homeland. And also up here, it's to make us strong and to toughen us up. We've been through it. And so how we appear to the rest of the world is very powerful, intense. It's that Scorpio energy. We're getting to the root of everything because enough is enough. And we have Sagittarius up here, which makes us very optimistic, and also it's global. So the United States is a conglomeration of different cultures. People come to this country to immigrate because they see something, they see opportunity. But yet, some of us that live here, been born here, we don't see the opportunity and we want to go to other places. So you see that there's major shift going on around the whole world, the whole planet. We're all shifting. I believe that this Venus and in Gemini, because Venus is also about love, peace, harmony, justice, balance. And over here, this is about peace as well, but a more spiritual peace for ourselves. And it's our responsibility. And the action that we're going to take is going to be very practical, very analytical, and it's going to have to do with our shared resources. And this could be tariffs, but it has to do with banking and all the finances that we share. And this is our personal finances area right here. So I feel that we're in for a continuation of a healing for the United States. It's happening. And we're going to have a little bit more leisure time. This country, we're going to come across as the king or the royal entity. This is where we're going to shine because of our communication. This is all Leo, the performer, but also the nurturer of hospitality and entertainment. So scientific over here on this side, and very deep-rooted solutions up here at the top of the chart. This is how the world sees us. And then we're going to look at the chart together with the natal chart, the solar return chart. That's what we call a bi-wheel. And in this bi-wheel, we're going to see, let's move me, and we're going to see how this is a Pluto return. So it's a brand new cycle of transformation. Transformation means that the caterpillar is turned into a butterfly. Butterflies never become caterpillars again. So it's in a new cycle. It's the beginning of a 250-year cycle. But this is very karmic because now we're going into familiar territory and we're looking at becoming the leaders of the world, especially in finances. So let's see how that works out. And also we have a Jupiter return as well right here. So solar return, Jupiter return, which is very interesting because Jupiter has to do with expansion. It has to do with looking at the big picture, has to do with justice. And we have the Pluto return. That's very interesting. So, do we know exactly what's going to happen? No. However, our thoughts relates to our consciousness, and if we all feel and think a certain way, we change consciousness. So we have two choices and two ways that we could look at the future. We could look at it as something positive, things are going to work out, they're going to be great, or we could look at it in a pessimistic way and say, oh, the United States is going to hell in a handbasket, and we could just interpret these energies, especially this has to do, Black Moon Lilith has to do with human trafficking. Will we get to the bottom of the human trafficking situation? I don't know. Human trafficking has been going on since ancient times. The Egyptians, the slaves back then. I don't know. However, we could only see. But if we do our part to be optimistic, to be positive, and to put out love and kindness instead of hatred, that and being mean, then we change the consciousness. So I recommend that we look at things optimistically, and it starts right in your own home. So that's the main gist of what's going on. We're still in the energy of the Chiron healing cycle, but that is towards the end of it. And then also we have, changes in our thinking, but this Jupiter return, so this Jupiter means bigger, but that could be, bigger and expansiveness as far as the United States being bigger, but it also could make it greater problems, greater solutions, but it is in the area of shared resources. So it looks like we will be sharing our resources in abundance with a lot of others. And you can see it's already happening. So these energies, they don't just bam appear. They kind of cycle around. And you have to look at it like we look at nature. For example, if you ever grew a garden or watched a plant grow, especially from a seed, where there's a zero or before there's a zero, but when there's a zero, that's the seed being planted and it's the infancy. And now we can watch this energy of Venus, attractiveness, money, food, go and become its fullest, its maximum. And then the 29, if you look at a garden at the end of the growing season, the plant will start withering, especially annuals. They have flowered. After they flower, like a basil, it just starts getting ready to be harvested or to die, and then it dries up, and that's the end of its cycle until another seed is planted and we have a beginning of another cycle. So I hope that you got a clear understanding of the United States of America's chart. We're dealing with 3 returns. The solar return, which will show exactly what's going to happen in the next 365 years, the next year from July 4th to July 4th, 2026, and a Jupiter return, which is a new cycle of justice, expansion, who we are, as far as our beliefs and our values. And if you have any questions, contact me, put them in the comments below. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up so we could help get more videos out, and share the videos with people that may be interested in what we have to say here. Take care, guys. All my love. And till next time, take care.